Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about failure, the missed marks, the moments we wish we could take back or analyze under a microscope. I had one of those moments today, and truthfully, I had no idea what this video was even going to be about until the email arrived in my inbox. With an unceremonious ding, I read through an article rejection. My first academic rejection in over a decade. I'm a co-author on papers under review, but I'm not counting those because we shared the load. This article, though, was work I poured myself into with my colleague. We believe in the importance of this research, and when I presented on it at the Accepted Society's Writers Group in Oxford last August, folks there seemed to value it as well. Now, some people will say, oh, you got a rejection. Take a walk. Close the laptop. Take a break. Protect your mental health. Things like that. And if you need that, then that's what you should do. But that's not what I needed, though. Let's start there. The rejection came in. There is nothing to do for this submission to this journal. But there are a ton of journals out there. Time to move on. I looked at their feedback. In essence, they said that it didn't align with their article options. Now, I disagree because I followed the descriptions on the submission portal. But hey, if the editor says it doesn't work, I'm not going to make friends here by complaining. It's a small field. So I take my lesson. Always triple check alignment. What's next? Finding a new journal. I already had a short list of journal options from before we started the manuscript, which leads me to what might be a controversial opinion. Understanding your top choice journal is important when you are writing your manuscript because the audience of that journal is unique. And you want to make sure that you are positioning your research to appeal to this audience. You don't want to spend time writing for niche academics if the primary readership of the journal you want to submit to is comprised of generalists or folks in leadership roles. Now, if you've never looked at journals before, start by pulling together the journals in your citations. What journals are they published in? Look them up. Are they still active? What are they publishing on recently? Is it still relevant? Some journals might be defunct, but a lot of seminal works were published in journals that are still active. If you can find patterns where your research was cited, and depending on your field, there might not be any. But if you can find anything, that's great. That's a springboard. However, if you're writing about economic destabilization in medieval Europe, you might consider looking at where your peers are publishing. All of this to say that the audience of the journal will align with the editors of the journal, and you want them to understand why the work is important, timely, and relevant to their readership. Up next, try again. Trying again is pivotal to your success. I appreciated the disappointment for about 30 minutes before I sat down and submitted to a new journal. Of course, I read through the requirements. Of course, I checked alignment, double-checked formatting before submitting, but I allowed myself space to think, did I miss the mark? I texted my mentor, I complained to my husband, I begrudgingly ate a peanut butter Buckeye to cheer myself up, and then I got back to work. Trying again is always the next step. You cannot accept one rejection as anything more than one rejection from one journal. It does not define you as a person, an academic, or your potential in the field. You are never going to apply for a grant or a job and have to answer the question, how many times has your work been rejected? But you will have to answer how much you've published. And if you let one rejection take the wind out of your sails, then that answer will be 0. I have a rule. Or really, my mentor has a rule, but I've co-opted it. At 2 rejections, take a beat and revise the work. I'm only at 1 rejection, but if this piece gets a second rejection, then I will pause and vet it again. Does it need revision? Should I push it through a few more folks to review it? Is there something goofy happening, or is it no longer relevant or timely? Ultimately, it's my choice, but I know that 2 rejections signal that maybe there's something wrong with the work. I open this by saying we would talk about failure. 1 rejection isn't failure. 1 rejection is just that, 1 singular rejection. Rejections aren't falling like snowflakes here. You know what you can do with 1 rejection? Anything you damn well want. You deserve to throw your work back out there, so send it off to the next journal. And maybe next time, you'll have something totally different for your first choice journal. That's the beauty of research. We learn from our past, and we can always try again.